All right, here we are with series number 2 of Cooking with Doug. And you might wonder, what the hell is all this in here? Well, the first series was the knives you need and some tools. Because you can't cook without having very good tools. And then the second step is to understand the different sciences behind cooking. In order to do that, you're going to have to equip your kitchen with certain pots and pans that you're going to need in order to have the proper cooking methods. And you see out here I have all these pots and pans and different things going on. I forgot, let me get a couple others here so you can get a good understanding. I got them all over my kitchen today. So one of the things that I really stress to people is that they get the best high quality pans that they can afford to buy. And what I have found is rather than buy a whole set and spend hundreds, you can spend $1,000. I buy them one at a time at the discount stores. Different discount stores will buy these open box ones, and you can buy some very high-end pots and pans with some names that you might know very well. For example, here's one. It's called a Technique. I don't know if you can see that. Very thick bottom, heavy, very nice. Come with a top. Here's another type of quality pan. This is made by, well, I'll put on my glasses. Calphalon. Very high quality pan. Cuisinart makes some great pans. And then there's some knockoffs that come from China that they're all stainless steel, and they can suit you very well. So the first and the basic pan that you're going to need is some saute pans. This is a saute pan. It has low sides. It has a heavy, thick bottom. This one happens to be made by Technique. It's a clad iron bottom. Very nice pan. You're going to need like a 6-inch, maybe an 8-inch, and then maybe a 10 or 12-inch, because you're going to have different types of food and different volumes of food that you're going to need these pans. So one of the first sets of pans I would get and stock my kitchen with is a saute pan. And we're going to go over, you're going to hear these names like saute, braising, broiling. These are going to be related to the different types of cooking methods that you're going to have to learn and implement to be a successful cook. The second type of pan that you're going to want in your kitchen is pretty much, it's kind of like a saute pan, but it's a braising pan because it has a big heavy bottom like the saute pan, but you'll notice the sides are a lot higher. Look at the two differences. And that's because in this pan, you could saute and brown things to seal and get a great seal on the outside of the food. And then you could fill it 3/4 of the way up with liquid, which would tenderize the meat and break down the meat. And you can use it to make different kinds of stews, or a saucier pan, some people would refer this to. You could make your sauces in here because the bottom is so thick and heavy it won't burn. You'll also notice this pan has some draining sides to drain the liquid out. You could actually use it for steaming. It has little holes here that would let the steam escape, or you could turn the pan and seal it off. That comes in very handy depending on the type of cooking and the type of cooking method you're using. Some of these other pans that you're going to see here, this is one of my favorite. This is a commercial braising pan, and you'll see that. where you can put this right in the oven. You can brown your meats. And if you have a very tough piece of meat, which we're going to teach you, we're going to show you how to take very less expensive, because everything's expensive today, pieces of meat, and show you how to utilize those meats and make them like butter. And one of the methods you use for that is called braising. And you're going to need a very good braising pan with, very important that you have a very good tight-fitting closed cover on it. Okay, so you're going to have a saute pan, you're going to have a braising pan, and then you're going to have a pan for your sauces and braising that you can put into the oven. The other type of pan that you're going to use is things, we might call them marmite, or some people might call it a soup pot. They come in all kinds of sizes. This is when you really want to. And why do I have such a big one? Well, I might be making a chicken soup and I want to fill it up this high and then reduce it down. I might not end up at the end of the cooking if I'm cooking it for 3 or 4 hours of chili or some kind of stew. I may want a bigger pot, bigger than this type of pot. And you notice I like the stainless steel. This is a Master Classic, probably comes from China, I'm not sure. It's all stainless steel. It's a nice pot, beautiful on the outside. Very nice lid came with it. Bought it as a one-off. This is more of a commercial type of pan, but you know, if you're cooking and you're just you by yourself, this is great. If you got a family like I had with 5 or 6 kids around the table, then you're going to need something like this. So, because you don't want to be cooking every single day. Sometimes you can make one thing and they can eat off of it for a few days. So this is very handy to have. Here's another type of saucepan or soup pan if you want. So you'll notice that I have a lot of different size, high quality pans in my kitchen so that I can accomplish the different tasks. The next thing you're going to want in your kitchen is several different types of roasting pans. Some roasting pans are smaller, some are larger, some have cover that you can flip over and use. I love this one because if I'm doing a small roast with some potatoes or carrots and that type of thing, I can just slip this in the oven. If I'm having a lot of people come over and I need a bigger pot, roasting and doing the roasting method, this is the baby that you're going to need. You're going to need a bunch of glassware that you can put in the oven. And you'll notice that the Pyrex, I like Pyrex. My mother used to have one she bought, I think it was a, start with a C, I can't remember. We had a lot of glass dishes. The bakers love them. If you're making brownies or something in the oven, you might want to make a lasagna in here. You're going to need some baking and some dishes that you have that are glassware dishes that are oven proof. And it's very important when you look at the dish that you look at the oven rating. Some of them can go up to 350. Some can go up to 450. Some can go up to 550. And you pay, the price goes up as the temperature goes up in your ability to put them in the oven. The other thing with the glassware, don't put ice cold food in it and then put it in a hot oven. We had someone, I won't say who, did that, and we were cleaning the glass out of the oven for a few days. A couple other handy tools, as we're talking about pots and pans, are in culinary school we used to call chinois or strainers. You need some fine strainers, you need some medium strainers, you're going to need some bigger strainers. A bunch of strainers in your kitchen is very important to drain vegetables, or if you're cooking pasta or you're going to make pasta and then cook it, you have to be able to have some strainers so that you can drain the liquid out of the pan. One of my most favorite things in the kitchen, and I've gone back to using, it's kind of a very old style of cooking, is the pressure cooker. And some people are afraid of them, but these new modern pressure cookers are just fabulous. And why do I like them? Well, I can take a very cheap piece of meat, one that's very tough, like a flank or some chuck or some other part that most people probably wouldn't buy because they go, oh, that's too tough. I can brown it in a saute pan, brown all the sides, seal up the sides. Then I can put it in here in the pressure cooker. And I'm sure you've seen the guy on TV, he's a magic whiz at it. But I can pressure cook that meat, and in an hour, it'll be like so tender. Ribs or tough pieces of meat or brisket, it'll be like butter. And then you can take it out and make some sauces, some different things with that meat. And I'll tell you what, sometimes I prefer it because it has a higher fat content, and some of that toughness gives a lot of flavor to the meat, and it's wonderful for stews or different types of, you can even grill the brisket later and then slice it on a bias. And we'll talk about marinating the meats first to break them down, then maybe brown them, pressure cook them, and then put them out on the grill. Just fabulous, fabulous. And I think most of you know is the slow cooker. This is like a staple. All you Betty Crocker housewives and cooks, I see these every party I go to. These are slow cookers, pressure cookers. Some of them are dual now. Some of them are pressure cookers and a slow cooker. And that might be the way to go. I've seen some of these new ones. I don't personally have one yet, but I thought of getting one to try it because it would eliminate having the two pots. I could just have the one pot. But, you know, my grandmother and my mother swore by these things. You can set it in the morning for the working woman or man who wants to put the meal in early, go to work and slow cook a meal. We'll do some experiments with this. So, and then one other thing that, you know, we'll talk more about tools. This is probably not what you think it is. This is called an emulsifier. So you can take a pot, put it in there and make your cream soups. If you want to make a cream of broccoli soup, this will emulsify all the different products, potatoes, carrots, into a nice, smooth, creamy blend. And I recommend that you have one of these in your kitchens. Along with that, you're going to want to have, of course, some really great spatulas. And you'll notice in here that I have all kinds of ladles. And then I have strainers and spoons. You'd be amazed how many times I go into people's kitchen and they're trying to do different things and they don't have any of the tools. It's like trying to build a house with no hammer. This is, what is this? This is to mash potatoes with. Kind of, it ain't a plastic one. Those little, get one, a really nice one. Make your job easy, make your life simple, you know. And then, so that's just a few of the tools in the kitchen, but you should start stocking up. As I said, you can buy them one at a time. One of the other things is I love these Cuisinarts. This is a small little one. Some call them Robocoups or big commercial ones. They have great big Cuisinarts. These are wonderful to have in your kitchen. We'll talk more about that as the series goes on. But we can use this to mince and dice and chop things. Makes your life a lot easier, especially if you're not good with some of those really nice knives. Also, you're going to want to have a good blender in your kitchen. That's critical, especially for your newbies who are maybe just getting out of college. You don't have a blender. Tell your mother you want one for Christmas, because then you can make your margaritas while you're cooking, and you can get drunk, because a lot of people like to do that, and it can be fun in the kitchen when you're drinking wine. And you know, you always see the guys on TV, just a little sip for me, and woohoo, they're off and running.